On August 12th, 2024, at 5:32 p.m., our office received a call from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office in reference to a subject that did not return home that evening, and the last known location he was Green Lake.
Do you think he may have faked his own death?
Oh, that's what we believe has happened.
Have you ever seen anything like this in your experience in law enforcement?
No, I haven't. This is tops the list.
Good evening, it's Ryan Borgwardt. Today, hello, Ryan. Today is November 11th. It's approximately 10 a.m. by you guys. I'm in my apartment. I am safe, secure, no problem. Hope this works.
He indicated that he might ever willingly return.
Our communications are continuing to go on
And in
about
those-
that matter. His biggest concern is how the community is going to react to him.
If you do not qualify for a public defender, you can ask this court to appoint one for you. Do you understand those options?
I do. I called this company and I found that I would have to pay, so I can't pay for that money, so I'll defend myself.
We brought a dad back on his own accord.
Ryan Borgwardt, back in the United States from Eastern Europe, where he went to go meet this woman he met online, faked his own death. He's back. He's charged now with obstructing an officer, but something else has happened now. As you recall, he was married, or he is married. He has children. They look so happy, and he walked away from all of that. And now what has happened is he's come back, and his wife, Emily, has filed a petition for divorce. The petitioner, Emily Borgwardt. The respondent, Ryan. The petitioner requests sole custody, sole legal custody, and primary physical placement of the minor children. The marriage is irretrievably broken. How is this divorce going to work out? Will he see his kids again? Joining me, family law attorney and law professor Randy Kessler. Randy, quite unusual. They thought he was dead. The family thought he was dead. Then investigators figured out that this was a fake because they couldn't find his body. He walked away from them. He's come back. She hits him with the papers. What rights, if any, does he have to see his children?
He's still the dad. I mean, right now he's got equal rights until the court enters an order. I can't imagine he's going to insist on those rights or try to take the children. But, you know, in a strange way, in my upside down world of divorce, you know, I imagine the children are torn, but they're happier now than they were when they thought he was dead, right? I mean, there's a long road of healing, there's a long road of therapy, but at least there's going to be some sort of relationship with this human being. And it was interesting what the law enforcement officer said, which is, we brought a dad back. I think that probably had something to do with how they convinced him to come back. You know, guilt is a strong motivator.
Yeah, and his wife, who looks so happy in these photos, and presumably heartbroken when he died, but he didn't die. He just left and walked away. So how does it work? Do children have a say in any of this? And these children, I think, are teenagers now, so they're still minors. Will they have a say in whether or not they have to see their father, or if they want to see their father?
So the court's going to start with the presumption that both parents have a right to be in their children's lives. The court's going to look at the information, the evidence. As to your question, you know, at certain levels, when children are of the age and maturity that they can make a decision, they may have input on whether they want to live primarily with one parent or the other. But usually the terms of parenting time, it's up to the judge. Of course, the judge can listen. And, you know, as the children get older, we all joke in the family law world, yeah, you can tell a 17-year-old what they've got to do and where they got to go. Good luck. So the way to their hearts is therapy. We have a lot of experts now in the world now. We call them co-parenting therapists, parent coordinators that can help figure out if and when it would be good for the children. Forget about him. What's good for the children? Is it good for them to never see him again? Is it good for them to see him in a controlled environment and reunify? There's a reunification therapy personnel. There are a whole bunch of resources. Let's hope they use those, and let's hope there is some sort of relationship and that he gets the help he needs. He apparently needs a lot of help.
Yeah, Randy, you've been doing this a long time. Have you ever seen a case like this?
It's rare that I see something for the first time. It's a first.
Good. I finally showed you a family law case that you haven't seen before. Randy Kessler, thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Appreciate it. Let's bring back in our think tank, Bernardo Villalona, Paulette Lofton, and Bob Bianchi. Let's talk about this criminal case now. He's charged with obstruction of the officer, right? And I was looking up the law. Obstruction includes knowingly placing physical evidence with intent to mislead the officer in the performance of his or her duty. Like, he faked his death, but he didn't file for life insurance. Nobody else was in on it with him. There's no conspiracy. It's just him heading off to someplace in Eastern Europe to see a woman who, I guess, probably took his money, then sent him on his way. Is there a crime here? Do you think there's a real crime here, Paulette?
As the crime is laid out, I suppose there could be. Obviously, I think the jurisdiction is very, very angry that they spent so much money looking in the lake for what they thought would be a dead body. And obviously that didn't happen. But I think, in all of the articles I've read about the statements that he made to police, I think, unfortunately, the statements he made and his explanation of exactly how he carried out this plan really ended up hurting him. I think it gave them the missing pieces that they needed to be able to charge him with this offense. Obviously, it doesn't seem like it's that serious offense. It's a misdemeanor. I believe he's now out on bond. But it appears, he came back willingly, so I don't think the grass was greener there in Georgia.
Bob, what are your thoughts of this as a prosecutor? A guy who just walks away from his life and his wife, that's disgraceful, we understand. But is it criminal?
I think it is criminal, but just because you can doesn't mean you should as a prosecutor. You have a tremendous amount of discretion as to whether or not you need to send a message. Well, there's not a lot of people that are out there faking their deaths. What mental health issues existed at the time? Now, I do agree that there was an expenditure of resources, and great for those investigators who didn't just give up on the surfacey aspect of this and continue to investigate. But as a prosecutor, in fact, I actually had a case where a guy faked his own death and was living like 10 miles away from his family for 10, 20 years until he got caught. These people are all...
Wait. Don't just throw that out there, Bob. Why did he do it? What was motivating that guy? Do we know?
Well, he wanted to get away from his family, and he wanted to collect some life insurance money. So that was, much more nefarious in nature. But you pointed that out earlier, Vinny. He wasn't doing it for that reason. He's having some sort of midlife crisis, some sort of health-related issue, whatever it may be. So I want to, as a prosecutor, use the rule of reason. This particular case only carries up to 9 months. The judge gave a $500 bail. The guy came back to the country. So as far as I'm concerned as a prosecutor, I'm giving the guy a break. I just want to make sure that there's some restitution for the law enforcement expenditure of funds that was used for his little farce. But you know what? He's going to be punished enough. He's losing his kids. He's going to lose his wife. Dumb move.
I'll tell you what, Bernardo, getting the restitution from this guy, it's going to take a while because that woman in Eastern Europe has a whole bunch of money right now.
You know what? He's been through a lot, Vinny, and I think just by charging him and ultimately you're going to try to get restitution out of him, that would suffice for the crime that he committed. It kind of reminds me of the Jussie Smollett case, because that's why they went after him, because of all the expenditures that the city made trying to look for his alleged abusers. So this is kind of similar in that regard. Unfortunately for the kids, he's not going to hear from the kids, not going to hear from the ex-wife. So that life is over. So I hope it was worth it.
The one thing I took away from this, Paulette, because this is Green Lakes County out in Wisconsin. It's a smaller community. I mean, law enforcement there really stepped up. Volunteers stepped up to try to find him. There was this incredible investment, which I think is the silver lining in all of this, that, you know what, when times are tough, people come together, whether it's law enforcement, members of the community, to help this family.
That's correct. I saw, a number of members of the community, outstretched family, the kids' school, students, teachers, everyone stepped up to try to find this gentleman. And I think, this charge is really showing people that you can't just, you can just leave, okay? But don't create such an elaborate plan where then everyone takes time out of their busy lives and funds are spent trying to look for you. It's okay to just leave your wife. He did it in a relatively crazy manner. But you're right. I mean, it really shows that the community came together and really tried to find this gentleman that they thought had fallen overboard.
You know, Bob, we always talk about stranger danger for our kids. Maybe some of the wives out there need to talk to their husbands about stranger danger online.
You know, Vinny, I don't know. What's coming to my mind is my dad, Angelo Bianchi, great trial lawyer in New Jersey, always said to me when I was a young man, a moment of ecstasy, a lifetime of pain. And that's what this guy's going to have now.
Absolutely. What a great job tonight. Great to see everyone. Bernard Villalona, Paulette Lofton, Bob Bianchi. Have a great weekend. We appreciate it. All right. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, Alec Murdaugh was convicted of murdering his wife and son. He's in prison for the rest of his life, but is still claiming his innocence and now has filed his appeal. Did the judge make any mistakes? We investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
People wanted answers, and people started locking their doors.
You know what it means. You know what you did, right?
Please hear me out. Please.
I said, OJ, everybody thinks you're guilty.
All right. I've got something else you need to know on this Friday the 13th. Whoa! Look who's been busy writing a new letter to the judge. Sarah Boone, Suitcase Sarah. Get ready, folks. For the next 30 to 40 years, you're gonna see a lot of letters coming from Sarah Boone. I'm gonna read part of this letter for you. Here we go. You ready? This is what she's writing to the judge. It was actually a 28-page letter. I'm not gonna read the whole thing tonight. By my reserving particular parts of this very true and meaningful statement, I was hoping to have been graced with your forgiveness, understanding, and consideration in any level or degree. For me, unfortunately, and regardless of whom I had speak on my behalf, or the number of your ignorant mind was already made up. You will never admit your many judicial errors, nor will the prosecutors theirs. And I will never admit to what you have wrongfully accused me of and judged me as. I am not a murderer. I am a survivor. Sarah Boone, she writes them, I'll read them. All right, take a look at your screens, folks. We have a missing child tonight who needs your help. Kimberlyn Stodgill is 16 years old, missing out of Cleveland, Ohio, since December 11th. If you see Kimberlyn, pick up the phone, make the call, make a difference. You can call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Cleveland Police Department in Ohio. That number on the screen right now. Let's see if we can get Kimberlyn to a safe place this weekend.